Here is another example of solving a quadratic equation by factoring. So in this case, we're going to apply the same method as before, in which we will multiply the number that is right here. There's a number here. In the front of the x squared, there's a 1. We'll multiply the 1 times this 10 to get 10, which we are going to go ahead and break into 2 to get this -7 right here. The only way to get that is to do -5 and -2 will give me -7. We can try other factors of 10. The only pair that will give you -7 is just that. So now we have broken this 10 into 2 factors, and we are now going to use those 2 factors to break this linear term into 2. It's because -7 is actually -5 plus -2, so we can break it into -2x plus -5x. That's how we break the linear term into 2. So we've broken it into 2, x squared minus 2x minus 5x plus 10. The next step now is to group this. As you saw in the last example, we're going to actually group. We're going to group these 2 factors, and then we're going to group these 2 factors. Now watch out. There's a negative here. It's different from the first example because the first example has a plus. This one has a minus, so we have to be very careful how we group it. Okay, let's see. So as you can see, these first 2, no problem, group together. I actually use a plus before the grouping symbol. See, I use a plus. Because of this minus here, I use a plus, so that when I use this 1 plus 1 down here, it's in one invisible 1 here. If I use that one to multiply everything inside, I will get that back. If I did not use plus here, it's going to be different. If I use a minus here, that will have been plus 5x. So be careful whenever there's a negative number in the front of the coefficient of the third term here. So be careful to use a plus and then group the everything inside, including negative. Group everything together. So now we have grouped them. The next thing is to pull out common factors. Here, x is common. We're going to pull it out. Here, -5 is common. We're going to pull it out. So here, the common x has been pulled out. So you have x, parenthesis x minus 2, because when you go back and if you try to do it back, you will get exactly that back. That's how you check. You can just do the distributive property again, you will get the original expression back. Okay, the same thing here. I pull out the -5, and that allows me to check that actually it's true. When you multiply -5 times x, you get -5x. So -5 times x will give you -5x, and -5 times -2 will give me plus 10. So that's the other thing you need to be very careful about. If you pull out a negative number, you must change this sign. Because we pull out a negative number, the sign has changed to negative, because that's the only way you're going to get a plus back. So that's something about pulling out a negative number you have to be very, very careful about. Pull out a negative number, change this sign inside so that it will work. Now that we've done that, what we need to do now is to recognize that there's a common factor now, but it's a binomial factor. This factor is common. It's common between these 2 terms because there are actually 2 terms here. Let me put a box around the 2 terms. There are 2 terms. This term over here is 1 term. There's another term over here. All right. So separated by a minus. So if you pull out this common x minus 2, it comes out as x minus 2. And then what is left from each term is this x and -5. And that's what you have over here. Well, we've kind of factored the left side. What is left for us to do is to set each of these linear factor to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0, or x minus 5 equals 0. So in that case, x equals 2. Sorry, I can't write very well. X equals 2 or x equals 5. So our final answer is 2 and 5. Sorry, this thing is not writing very well. Well, basically you get a point. So this is the final answer to the problem. X equals 2 or x equals 5. Hopefully this helped a little bit. See ya.